when people think of telecommunications in Africa, they've normally talked about voice. Now that's trending to a different level now. We're seeing voice and data as the two sides of telecommunications. Voice is yet to be fully saturated, but it's getting there. Data is yet to begin. And beyond data, there are also things like video and other applications that are going to take things to the next level. We are at a unique time on this continent in terms of telecommunications. Less than 10 years ago, there was very spotty coverage of landlines or telecommunications outside of South Africa. In fact, Nigerians had, by I believe 1999, less than 500,000 excuse me, fixed and mobile licenses available. When the market deregulated and GSM licenses were sold, that exploded exponentially to the point now where Nigeria alone carries 70 million lines. The unique thing about that market is that those lines are not subscribers. I think it's only half of them are subscribers. So on average, every Nigerian carries 2 cell phones or 2 different licenses. The same is percolating across West Africa. Ghana has also become the firm number 2, and Cote d'Ivoire is a close number 3 in terms of internet and telecommunication use from a voice standpoint. When I say a unique standpoint in Africa's history, in the last year we've had 2 undersea cables berthed in Kenya, Seacom and I forget EC. Now in West Africa, we've had another 2 berths as well in Nigeria in the past 2 months, Main 1 and Glow 1, and with the expectation that 2 more will berth in the next 12 to 15 months. WAX, which is the West African cable system, and ACE, which is also funded by a consortium of landlocked countries. Currently, there is more capacity from an undersea standpoint than all of Africa needs for the next 100 years. And that's in one country. The number of cables we have in Nigeria now could supply Africa all the bandwidth they needed till the next century comes along. So there's a lot of underutilized capacity that's going to spur a lot of innovation and change in the whole market space. That is the next step in telecommunications investment. The current wave has been on voice and centered around large markets where you can recoup your investments quickly. So Nigeria has definitely taking a lot of money in from an investment standpoint. And South Africa has been a major push for that, particularly MTN Group being the biggest telco in Nigeria. But I'm hoping that we can look at the telecommunications space as one that is evolving, one that requires a huge amount of public and private sector investment, and one that for many parts of this continent is quite unregulated, which I think is a good thing from a private sector standpoint. When I say unregulated, I don't mean that it doesn't have government interference, but the government typically tends to stay hands-off because they see it as a cash cow. So investors coming in have a good chance to recoup their investments in a shorter time frame than they would in a heavily regulated industry where tariffs are set and you cannot make price or marketing decisions that would be against government policy. So put that at the back of your minds as you think about telecommunications and where you can spend your dollars, euros, or yen. And overall, I think these are really exciting times.
Doing business in Africa, you can't afford to be without Africa Investor.